This video is all about special right triangles and specifically those 30, 60, 90 triangles. So a 30, 60, 90 triangle is a triangle that is a right triangle that has one 90-degree angle, one 30-degree angle, and one 60-degree angle, hence the name. And these 30, 60, 90 triangles are special because they always have their sides in the same ratio. And that ratio is explained here. So the first thing that you always want to make sure you do is identify your side lengths. So in a 30, 60, 90 or in any right triangle, the first side that we want to identify is the hypotenuse. And remember, the hypotenuse is the side that is opposite the right angle. So the hypotenuse in this case is the side that's labeled 2x. We'll talk about that in just a second. Then we have our other two sides, which we know are the legs. But we need to be a little bit more specific with these 30, 60, 90s. Because looking at the angles, 30 degrees is my smallest angle. So I know that the smallest side is going to be opposite that angle. So the side on the right side that's labeled X is opposite my 30-degree angle. This is going to be what we call the short leg. Versus the side that's opposite the 60-degree angle. 60 degrees is bigger than 30 degrees, so that is going to be my long leg, that side labeled X square root 3. So you just start by labeling the sides based on where the angles are. And if you know which sides are which, and you remember these ratios, X times the square root of 3, and 2 times X, you're able to find all of the missing sides of a right triangle without doing the Pythagorean theorem. Let's look at some examples. So here I have a right triangle, and it does tell me one angle is 30 degrees. I know since all of the angles have to add up to 180 degrees, this last angle has to be a 60-degree angle. So again, I can label all of my different side lengths based on my angles. My side opposite my right angle is the hypotenuse. And I can find the 30-degree angle and the 60-degree angle and label those sides as well. So the bottom part of this triangle, the side that's labeled 2, is the short leg. And the side that is labeled Y is the side that's opposite that 60-degree angle, so therefore it's my long leg. So the hypotenuse, we don't really care about it because we're trying to find Y. If we know our short leg, we know that that is our starting point. That is our X. And our long leg, we know that is our X times the square root of 3. Well, if we know X is 2, all we have to do is take that 2 and plug it in to our side length. So my long leg, Y, would equal 2 times the square root of 3. So for this problem, Y is equal to 2 times the square root of 3, and we knew that because of our 30, 60, 90 triangle pattern. Here's a second example. It's very similar. So I can, again, label all my sides. And I just use the first letter, SL for short leg, LL for long leg, H for hypotenuse. And remember, again, that's looking at each angle and finding the opposite side. So if, again, 2 is my short leg, we love when we're given that short leg because we know that that's X. That's our starting point. So I know that this side, my hypotenuse, is always 2 times that short leg. So if my short leg is 2, my hypotenuse is going to be 2 times 2. So my hypotenuse is 4. The hypotenuse is always double the length of the short leg in a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Here we have our angles labeled in the same way. So again, looking for our labeling, it should look something like this. Very similar in all of these problems. Well, now we're given the hypotenuse. So we need to figure out what our short leg is. We need to figure out what our starting point was. But remember, our hypotenuse is always 2 times the short leg. So our hypotenuse here, this 26, is always equal to 2 times what our short leg is. So if we have this little equation, we can solve for x by dividing both sides by 2. So in this case, we would see that the short leg is 13. And following that 30, 60, 90 pattern, the hypotenuse is twice as long as that short leg. And the last example, we finally have a triangle kind of turned around in a different direction, but same idea. Go ahead and label those sides. My hypotenuse is still opposite the right angle. The long leg is still opposite of the 60-degree angle, and the short leg is still opposite of the 30-degree angle. Well, now we have the long leg labeled, and we need to find the short leg. So I know my long leg, like we did in the very first problem, is equal to x times that square root of 3. It's equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. Well, just like we did before, if I want to solve this little equation for x, I can divide both sides by the square root of 3. And my square roots of 3 cancel out, so all we're left with is 10. So my short leg ends up being 10, because my long leg is the short leg times the square root of 3. And those are a few examples of 30, 60, 90 triangles.